Hello, and you're all very welcome along to another episode of the Gaelic Statsman podcast. I'm your host, Matthew Hurley, and it is All-Ireland football quarter-final weekend. We cannot wait. All the games on in Croke Park this weekend. Obviously, you have Roscommon and Armagh, Dublin, Galway, Louth against Donegal, and of course Kerry against Derry as well. So very interesting weekend taking place this weekend in Croke Park. Delighted to be joined by Gaelic tactics board owner and former Monaghan footballer Stephen Gallogly to discuss this weekend's games and go in depth into the games in general as well. Before we get into the podcast, shout out to our sponsors at Capture Athletics. If you want the best gear around, check them out if you haven't already. So yeah, Stephen, we're going to the quarter-final weekend and none of our two counties are in it. So I suppose it is a good podcast from the neutral point of view that a Monaghan man and a Cork man are talking about these games here.
Yeah, we were both dumped out last weekend. Yourselves in County Monaghan, you were playing Louth in Enniskeane last Sunday, and Monaghan ourselves, Galway put us out. So, but from Monaghan point of view, we had a poor season. We were relegated in the league first time in, was it 10 odd years? I think it was the longest record behind Kerry. But yeah, disappointing with an awful lot of injuries. Crazy amount. We could have had 8 odd players, 10 hamstring injuries all year. And don't know, overloading training or way, something just wasn't right, unfortunately. A lot of new players come in and we've took the drop down. So hopefully you wouldn't start to dip 2 into 3 and go way back down the different tiers. But no, the boys still be back. There's youth coming through the county. We've won a couple of minors and 20 Ulster titles and that. So got it all out of minor final last year. Great minor team. Under 18 now this year. So that takes a few years to come through. But Monaghan's a strong football county and hopefully we'll be back.
Yeah, exactly. We'll hope that Monaghan will be back soon. Obviously, it was a tough defeat to take against Galway last weekend, but surely Monaghan should be doing well in Division 2 next year, and we will have to see. So before we get into the games this weekend, we'll go into the week of Gaelic games section, and obviously one place to start, and obviously it is a tribute to the great man himself, Mícheál Ó Muircheartaigh, who passed away early this week at the age of 93. He had a magnificent career in commentating Gaelic games. Obviously started with the Railway Cup in 1949 for RT and ended in the All-Ireland final between Cork and Down in 2010. He had a miraculous career, obviously, with so many quotes, so many poems as well in commentary. He had a miraculous career, as I mentioned there. Like the quotes I remember, Stephen, the quote about Sean O'Halpine, his players from Fermanagh and Fiji, neither are hurling stronghold. Then Mick McCarthy to Teddy McCarthy, no relation. Teddy McCarthy back to Mick McCarthy, still no relation. Like the quotes just come off the tongue this weekend, and he will be sadly missed. Obviously, rest in peace, Mícheál, and obviously condolences to the Muircheartaigh family. And what are your memories of Mícheál Ó Muircheartaigh, Stephen? Obviously, an icon in Gaelic games.
Yeah, it's mad when you think back. I hadn't much time to see the clips on Twitter or online during the week there on him, but my memories of Gaelic games, I grew up in a housing estate in Carrickmacross, and the games would be on the Sunday. So I was born in 84. So in the 90s, 91, I think Cork won it in 90. 91 was Down, so I was 7. 92 was Donegal, I was 8. 93 Derry, 94 Down again. 95 Tyrone got to the final against Dublin. So I was like 8, 9, 10, 11 them years, and Carrickmacross, it's on the end too. All them teams used to travel through Carrick. There was no bypass at the time. There'd be tailbacks, maybe 5 mile out the road, all the northern teams travelling back. And I can remember the buzz would be unbelievable. The northern counties going back with Sam Maguire. And then I can remember watching the games. We used to be the highlight of the Sunday. Watching the games on TV, would mute the television and would be listening to Mícheál on the radio to get the better atmosphere. Unreal. I remember getting milkshakes as well. Mum would make milkshakes to be ice cream in the glasses and the 7-Up or lemonade and top, fizz them up. So great memories, and he's a GA icon. He'd take the game to life. But one I can remember, a famous one, it was, I think, Pat Fox Tipperary. This is probably the 90s, and Joe Rabbit Galway. Yeah, so the fox chases the rabbit, or the rabbit was then chasing the fox. So yeah, he'd unbelievable. And the Cúpla Focalas Gaeilge was always nice. Mícheál was a West Kerry man, fluent Gaeilge, and it was always nice to hear the Cúpla Focal keep the Irish traditions alive with Gaelic games.
Definitely. And I suppose another quote that it was mentioned during the week: the stopwatch has stopped. It's up to God. The referee now. The referee is Pat Horn. God is God. Like these quotes, like in the middle of the game, to even think about these quotes while doing an important job, obviously, commentating for the public, for radio listeners, like. The guy was just poetry in motion. He was an absolutely incredible commentator. And to be honest, I don't think there'd be the likes of him or Mícheál O'Muircheartaigh who he replaced in 1985 as the main radio commentator again on RT. I think both of them were absolutely brilliant by the sounds of them on YouTube clips and all that. And even Mícheál Ó Muircheartaigh, I think Sports Show mentioned this during the week as well. He was on the Gaelic Games video game in 2004-2005, talking about the bananas at halftime and things like that. All those lines just come back to your memory as well. And he's just a brilliant commentator, and again, will be sadly missed by the GA community. But RT or Gaelic Games would probably not have a commentator like him again.
Yeah, sometimes the radio can be better to take in a game. Like some of the games at the minute, they'd be hard to watch. They're very defensive, 15, not really exciting to watch on TV. But if you get the right commentator, we're lucky enough here in Monaghan, Shannonside Northern Sound, we Fergal Monaghan this last 2-3 years. Brilliant commentator. Just brings the game to life to you. And he'd have similar stories, and just he is away with words. I think he's an English teacher by trade. He works in St. Pat's Navan there. He just has it. Fantastic commentator. The Louth Cork game last weekend, I listed that on local radio LMFM. My GA goal was given trouble, couldn't get it on the radio, and it sounded fantastic. And then yourself, you told me there before we came on, you were at the game, wasn't that good of a game quality, but listening to the radio, unbelievable. Great stuff. So yeah, radio listening, sometimes brilliant way to take in a game. Same with Marty Morrissey, Marty and the hurling, fantastic listening. Yeah, great, sometimes better than TV. Because some, like last weekend, the Monaghan Galway game, your fellow County Gael Breed Stack, she was doing commentating. Monaghan and Galway, wrong choice. Like Breed Stack, she would know very little in Monaghan football, very little in Galway football. She'd read her wee notes before the game, whatever, give her insights. Wrong choice. I just, some of the stuff within the media now at the minute, it's just not adding up for me, and it's been diluted. So it's hard to know. Same with the soccer, an awful lot of female analysts, and controversy at the time. Are they right to do it? Are they the right people to get involved? So if they're not up to it, whether it's male or female, they should be getting the right people for the jobs who are good, give a good opinion, honest opinion, and a bit of entertainment too. As a watcher or listener, you want to be entertained.
Definitely so. And RIP to Mícheál Ó Muircheartaigh, and condolences to the O'Muircheartaigh family. Once again, an absolute legend, an icon of Gaelic games. Another story that was reverberating around the news this week. Well, shortly after the final whistle, the game that you mentioned, Stephen, there, Monaghan and Galway, there were rumours speculating Conor McManus is retired from intercounty football. Then he spoke to Patrick Mulcahy from RT, and then he says, "I'm not gone just yet." So, like, we actually don't know, is he gone yet? Is he retired or whatever? But I just wanted to get your opinions on Conor McManus yourself, because obviously you've played with him, you've won an Ulster title with him, obviously a legend of the game from the outside. But what is Conor like to play with in general? Because he seems like an absolute brilliant player, a gem of a player to play with.
Yeah, his playing capabilities aside, the qualities aside on the football field, he's just a great fella. He's down to earth, very humble, team player, squad player, good fun, good crack, good. Just he has it all. Like, he's just an all-round good fella. He didn't come out and retire last Sunday because, as he said, it's not about Conor McManus. He's a team player first and a squad man. So, but I've no doubt about it that he's gone. Like he's 38ish, an awful lot of miles on the clock. He has a bad hip. I would call into him in his house, Clontibre. It was middle of last year. It was just before. Was it the Kildare game? And just in a bad, he'd walk a bit of a limp, and Diafine to get him through games. And then he ignited, scored maybe 2 points off the bench against Kildare. Started against Armagh in the quarter-final, had a massive game in Croke Park, kicked 2 top corner penalties at the end, man of the match, and then Dublin in the semi. Unbelievable end to his year. And then it's the thing, when do you retire? Is there another push? Could Monaghan get another wee 5%, get into an All-Ireland final? You never know what could happen, but wasn't to be. And no, he's gone. I can't see him going another year. He's maxed out. Great player, great fella, loyal teammate, good friend, sound fella. Yeah, you just want your players to be like him. Team first, trains hard, does his talking on the field, doesn't do too much talking in the dressing room, leads by examples. He was captain for us vice captain in 13 when we won our first Ulster. He lifted the Anglo-Celt with Owen Lennon. And then he was captain himself in 15. Owen was after retiring, I think, in 15 or playing a smaller part. But a great guy, yeah. Great memories playing with him. Yeah, unbelievable fella.
Yeah, brilliant player Conor McManus is. And obviously, we don't know
And I must say, some man in the drink too. Unbelievable crack. Yeah, we'll go for a drink all week and wouldn't eat at all. Yeah, great fun.
It's great to have a former teammate of Conor McManus on the podcast, everyone. Yeah, it's great to hear the stories about McManus, obviously, an unbelievable player, but just as good, obviously, as a teammate, and obviously off the pitch as well, obviously. So we'll get on to the quarterfinals first of all, to discuss this weekend, and we're going to go chronologically. So we'll start off with the game that's earliest on Saturday and go with the last game on Sunday. So starting off, we've Armagh against Roscommon in Croke Park, 4 p.m. live on Go on Saturday. I think the main question out of this, Stephen, is will this go all the way to penalties? Because if it does, I think we all know what's going to happen.
Could do, yeah. It's going to be tight. It's going to be dangerous for Armagh. I didn't see the odds in the bookies now this week. Presume Armagh are favourites, slight favourites probably, but Roscommon have some chance, I think. Massive win against Tyrone. Any day you beat Tyrone in a championship match in Omagh, you're going well. And for periods of the game, Roscommon were up by 5-6 points winning in the first half. Tyrone did claw it back, but to win in Omagh, if you do that, you're going well. Tyrone, they mightn't be that strong at the minute, but their young players coming through are quality. They won the All-Ireland 20s this year. The one that was at the 21s then, when it was still 21s, 2-3 years. They have good young players coming through, quality, and Roscommon turned them over against the odds. So Roscommon are no bad team. I seen them in the FBD League final. It was over in the Dome in Mayo there at the start of the year. They beat Galway well. Galway hadn't a strong team out, but I seen glimpses. They had young players they were going to add to the panel. The full Dara Craig, quality player, takes watching. He's worth 5 points a game, plus points in form. And if Armagh are not at it, they're going to be in trouble. So Armagh a wee bit inconsistent. You don't know what they're going to give you. Rian O'Neill are you going to get? Discipline can let him down sometimes. His head, he can lose his head very easily. If he's on form, he's a great player. He's Armagh's best player, I would think. But if Armagh aren't at it, they could be in trouble.
But doing average stats on this game in particular, I didn't have time on the other 3 games, but this was the first game I could do. I'll do Galway, Dublin later on tonight. But for Armagh, their average conversion rate is 57%, and their opposition conversion rate against Armagh average is 56%. It seems very even looking at that, and even the kickouts won, they seem to always go short. 87% won. They win 80% of the opposition kickouts, so that probably indicates in some of the kickouts instances they sort of push back like they did against Galway in the last game in Markovich Park. Turnovers, they've won an average of 2 more than their opposition fouls. What I look at overall cards, for some reason Armagh don't want to get red cards and black cards this year, but it looks at things, they've got 12 yellow cards this year. And you look at their scores, Conor Turbot 215. The next best is Rory Grugan with 13 points. So look at that for a sec, the top scorers. Conor Turbot. Do you think it's kind of a case, if Roscommon stop this guy from taking shots, they'll go a long way to going on and winning this game, because he seems to be on fire this year. And you mentioned with Rian O'Neill, he seems to be inconsistent a small bit this year. So will that be kind of a cause of a concern for Kieran McGeady, that Roscommon could keep their tabs on Conor Turbitt, and then the rest of the team will be under pressure for Armagh?
Possibly. Turbitt can be a bit inconsistent as well. I would say he's probably their in-form forward. He's got man of the match in a couple of their games this year, and the Ulster final he would have been quiet and didn't do it. So I would think a lot of the Armagh lads, they're unproved. Like, is there a bit of a weakness? We know they were improving a wee bit every year with Kieran McGeady. He's there like 9-10 years. They haven't won anything really significant. They were betting the league final this year, Donegal, Ulster final again, and they had a chance to win it. So I still think they could be playing within themselves a wee bit, that they're not fully maxing out and going all out for the win. So Turbitt, he needs a big game in Croke Park. If you nullify him, Soupy Campbell on their day, to me, he's probably their best scoring forward when he's in tune. Takes watching. Grogan, their captain, this last, I'm not sure if he's still the captain, wee bit inconsistent of himself, but he'll kick the frees on the right-hand side for the left footer. If he gets in the ball edge of the E, he'll curl it over, but he's not that dynamic of a player. So I don't know as a whole, have Armagh improved much more on last year compared to where they're at this year. So, but they had a massive win against Derry up in the bog side there to get them back on track. They seem fit, strong, they've all their training done. Kieran Mackin, midfield, he's going to be a big loss to them. I think he has whipped the cruciate. Very competitive player. I marked him in Chicago 3 times. He was playing with the Parnells out there in 2019. I was with the Wolf Tones. We always marked each other. Fierce competitor. Borderline over the top, but he's going to be missed. And you need players like that in big championship games.
Definitely so. You have a lot of Armagh players that could really step up as well. And even look at a few comments coming in here. Sean is saying here, we know how Roscommon will play, but God knows how Armagh will go. I'd still go with Armagh. Gavin, a staunch Roscommon fan, says this: the narrative last week was it would be a good game, but Tyrone should come through, and it's the same this week. So it could be used to drive Roscommon on. And even I watched back the Tyrone game against Roscommon, and it seemed like Tyrone missed a lot of chances. Like, they had under 50% shot accuracy. They were very, very poor in their shot selection, albeit Roscommon put a lot of pressure on them, and Roscommon got a lot of scores for turnovers in that game as well. So, like, will Roscommon, do you think, do the same as what they did against Tyrone, kind of sit back and break on this Armagh team, or how do you think they'll play this game? Yeah, well, that's Davy Byrne's style of a manager. He had Mark McHugh in coaching, was that his first year last year in Roscommon, full defensive turnover and try to break. So I'm not sure, if you look at the history of the last Gaelic games, the last 20 years, it doesn't really work in Croke Park, because it's a massive field. With the whole occasion, you're driving to Croke Park, you're getting text messages, your aunties, uncles. It just adds to it a wee bit more. You can lose more energy, and it's a venue where you need your energy. And by running up and down the field for 75 minutes, your warm-up included 20 minutes, that's near 100 minutes you need energy. You need to kick the ball in Croke Park, I believe, and could come up against Roscommon as they play a very defensive, short game. So Armagh probably do kick the ball a wee bit more, but it's going to be interesting. But Armagh or Roscommon will fancy themselves coming in under the radar. And all in all, Davy Byrne, he seems to have got it right this year. Last year they were flying in the league and they petered out in the championship. This year they're coming right at the right time when you want to be coming right. So Roscommon will be fancying their chances, no doubt. You mentioned a very good point there about coming in at the right time. And I remember at the start of the year, the league, they were very, very poor against Mayo in the semi-final. They missed a lot of chances. But as soon as they faced Dublin, they were very good in the first half. And when Seamus Brady described it previously to me, was when the dam broke in the second half, and Roscommon just couldn't recover from that. The second game against Mayo, I thought they were very, very good. They were very competitive. They scored 320 against Cavan, and obviously against Tyrone, they hit 70% of their shots over the bar as well, which is really, really impressive from a Roscommon point of view. So they are coming in at the right time. Another few comments coming in here for John. First of all, Roscommon have a reasonably good record against Armagh, the league and the championship. And I think the last time they played each other in the championship, Roscommon actually turned them over in 2018. So, Roscommon definitely have the better head-to-head record, and Gavin's coming in here. Our last win in Croke was in 1980, and against Armagh, it could be an omen.
Yeah, interesting. Just when you look back, 1980, Croke Park was such a hard place to win championship football. You might get a league title, the lower divisions, 2, 3, 4 division, you'll get your league, but to win big championship games in Croke Park, your team has to be motoring well. 1980. Okay, massive stat. So what's that, 44 years? For Roscommon, a county that has tradition. They've won all Ireland's, albeit well back, but they're a proud football county as well. But with Armagh, you'd imagine, you could say they're just not doing it, or they're playing within themselves. Is McGeaney the right man? Is he getting enough out of them? But they have been so unlucky. You'd be just saying to yourself, you'll get your luck someday. If you keep knocking on the door eventually will open. And maybe that's going to be the case for Armagh this year.
That's the thing as well. Yeah, I've looked at the record between the two sides in championship on Know the Game there. The last meeting was in 2018 in the championship, and Roscommon won that. In 2014 it was Armagh that won. 2012 it was Roscommon, and 1980 was Roscommon. So they've won 3 out of the last 4 championship meetings between the sides. So Armagh have only won in 2014. So every moment is nearly going for Roscommon. But the question, playing David's advocate from an Armagh point of view, if they were to lose this game, say on penalties or normal time or whatever it is, do you think Kieran McGeaney has to go if they lose this game?
Yeah, they're making progress with him. They're very, in fairness, when McGeaney took them over, I think they were Division 3, and they have steadily progressed. But to go again another year, I don't know. I'm not sure what his relationship is like with the chairman of the county board, Armagh County Board. So you don't know if the players want him. The players seem happy to play for him. Don't know. But for Kieran to go again and commit the full, they've had heartache this last year or 2 years to keep coming back to the well. It is very difficult. But who knows? Who knows? I couldn't see it. If they're bet on at the weekend, their game Saturday, I couldn't see him going back another year.
No comment in here from Gavin about Davy Burke. I'm sure Kildare would take him back though. We'll have to, if Kildare are the lower ebb than Roscommon, why would he go back? Simple as. So yeah, that should be an interesting dynamic as well.
I'm sure Davy Byrne will get his home county job at some stage. He seems to be a GAA fanatic. I've talked to him once or twice on different bits and pieces, and yeah, he seems just die-hard GAA man. Yeah.
So if you were to call it in one word, who do you think it'll go to, or do you think it'll be a draw after normal time, penalties or whatever? How do you think it'll go?
I'll go Roscommon. Yeah. Well, I sit in the fence, a draw, and then Roscommon to win in extra time or penalties. Yeah, I'll go Roscommon.
You know what? It's just the history of Armagh, isn't it? If they go down to the wire, they're always going to get caught and then go to penalties. I'm thinking surely Armagh have to learn sometime. Surely it's going to click now, because you look at the Ulster final. I thought against Down, they closed out that game with Conor Turbert's point when they were passing the ball about. I thought they would learn from their experiences there. They still lost the penalties to Donegal. They lost the penalties to Derry. It's just the history of Armagh football, isn't it? I just feel like Armagh have to learn some. It's either going to be now or never for Kieran McGeaney. If he doesn't do it now, that's it. So I just feel like, yeah, it's going to be. I'm going to go for Armagh.
Sometimes you need leadership on the field too, and it comes at the Ulster final. There was a few cases. Armagh had a free 40 yards out. It was a Charlie Ogburns. He looks around to his manager, and what will I do? Sometimes you just need your leaders on the field. You just can't be looking back over the dugout. you just need pure leadership and players. And Armagh had a chance to win that game against Donegal. We're the 2 points up. Sometimes you just have to feel the game. Do we go for, if you have quality players and experience and leadership on the field, you get the feel of a game. Is it playing fast? Is it playing slow? What way is the ref playing? Armagh had a chance that day and they didn't go for it. They missed a chance late on, and Donegal got a sniff and they got back into it and got her to extra time, and Donegal won on penalties. So leadership, and are they good enough? Are they good enough to go semi-final or into a final and win an All-Ireland? I don't think they're good enough to win an All-Ireland. But to get into a semi-final is a massive, massive achievement.
I'm gonna go for Armagh in this one, but we'll have to see what happens in this game. Gavin is commenting here. I meant it. Begidi would have left Armagh. He might go back to Kildare. Will Kildare take him back?
They take him back in a heartbeat. Yeah, they're heartbeat. Kildare would take any top man at the minute. They're not progressing, and they should be. Schools football has been very good. Naas, they've won 1 or 2 Hogan Cups in the last few years. I think they've won 6. Leinster A schools title. They've won an All-Ireland 20 or 21, whatever it was. They should be doing better. Yeah.
They definitely showed in under 20s as well. They've reached 2 of the last 3 All-Ireland finals as well. So they have to do better. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah,
but there is room for
quality. If quality coming through, they have to harness it. Something's not right. Yeah, they're not getting the most, whether it's county board, management team, Glenn Ray and Anthony Rainbows with them, was Johnny Doyle in with them. They weren't maxing the performance out of their players, no way.
It's almost a situation at Kildare. If you can't play for those guys, who are you going to play for? So
could be Mick O'Dwyer might go back as well. Mick, yeah, I don't know what age Mick is now. Is he 90? He got married there again recently. Mick would seem to get more out of him. They weren't dying for their jersey. There was just lacking something, grit, determination. I don't know if they weren't happy with management, but they weren't getting the most out of themselves.
They definitely weren't, and maybe that's a discussion for another day with Kildare. Speaking of Kildare, their Leinster rivals are in action this weekend in their, let's face it, their home patch in Croke Park. Look, that's a joke for Dublin fans there. Dublin against Galway in Croke Park, 6:15 p.m. on GA Go. Like, Galway have been so good in this championship so far, Stephen. They haven't lost a game yet. Yes, they struggled its periods against Sligo in the college championship, but they were very good against Armagh and were pipped to a draw right at the end with Stephen Campbell fisting that point over the bar. But throughout that game, they were very, very good. And against Monaghan, to be fair to them, I know Monaghan put them under pressure at stages in that game, but Galway still at 70% shot accuracy in a pouring rain day in Salt Hill, let's be honest. So, and Dublin haven't, like, I would say, like, Mayo really put Dublin under pressure. Cavan got more than 20 shots against them. So did Offaly. Louth scored 2 goals against them. The stats point towards Dublin not doing so well in winning these games. So is there a chance that Galway turned them over this Saturday?
Can't see it. No, can't see them coming close. I watched the Monaghan game very closely last weekend. I wasn't that impressed with Galway. They just don't seem to be in flow. They've had an awful lot of injuries. Shane Walsh is carrying him off against Monaghan. Comer come on, 20 minutes, injury. Sean Kelly was hobbling sort of for half an hour, injury. Killian McDade, all-star from last year, struggled with it. He's only coming back into match practice. Matthew Tierney is just so many injuries. They're not in flow. Game last weekend, they just won't be ripe for the match, I can't see, and unless they just click on the day and put it up to but putting up to Dublin and beating Dublin's a different story. I can only see a Dublin win.
Look at the record between the two teams. Galway have lost 7 out of the last 7 championship games against Dublin, so that's not a good record. And most of those happen in Croke Park as well. So, like, the omens do point towards Galway losing it, but with the brilliance, obviously, if let's see it as if Galway have fit players on the pitch. If they have Shane Walsh fit, if they have Damien Comer fit, if they have Matthew Tierney fit, can they go after Dublin? Because Paul Conor is another player who's really excelled in midfield for Galway. Got 2 Man of the Match awards this season alone as well, and was very impressive in the college championship at stages as well. Conor Gleeson has the potential to do well in this game and can kick boomers from long range, as we've seen in the championship already. So Can you see any shock whatsoever, despite the fact that I know Dublin have a good record against Galway, but Galway are performing well themselves as well, and surely they have to put up a good performance themselves, Galway, if they are to be considered All-Ireland contenders.
It's always a great way to come into a championship match if you weren't at it the last day. So, but they need their players on the field. If Galway had Conor, the beast as I call him, inside in form, Shane Walsh in form, they're unstoppable. Like the Dublin full back line, Murchan, he rarely lets the Dubs down, but I'm not just so sure. If you have the right man in form on him, he could be taken clean. Mickey Fitz, he's another year on. If Galway had everything going for them, injuries, hunger, just getting their peak right in a bit of form, they could trouble them, but I can't see it, Matthew. No, not for me. I'm going to the Saw Doctors in Dublin on Saturday night, and I think that'll be the only Galway cheers at the Saw Doctors. I can't see them being many Galway cheers in Croke Park. I can't see them beating Dublin.
Jeez, it's funny because last week at the podcast, my guest Seamus Brady was saying that Derry had 0 hope against Mayo, and look what happened. Derry beat Mayo. So
yeah, I wouldn't been saying that about Derry. No hope. I thought there was a big one in them, and I think there's another big one in them this weekend too.
We can't the Derry and Kerry the bit, but look at Dublin. They've scored the most goals out of the last 8 in the championship already with 14 goals. And what I noticed, even watching some of their matches back today, the Dubs, they break at pace so quick. Whether it's Cormac Costello with Cullen Basquel, Jack McCaffrey running in off the bench, James McCarthy, Brian Fenton, like you see other counties, they pass the ball for say 2-3 minutes, trying to manoeuvre an opportunity. With Dublin, they go straight down their throat. So is that an indication that they could even hit Galway for a few goals in this one?
They're just quality. I'll go through here. I have the magnets up for the various teams on the weekend on one of our boards. So I'll just say Dublin, like Fenton, he's the best midfielder in the last 10 years. He could be the best midfielder ever to play the game. Like when he gets the ball on the edge of the D from 40 metres in, he doesn't miss. His accuracy on the kick is unbelievable. He's a curl kicker. Who else? Basquel. I played with Basquel in America a few years ago. He got his first All-Ireland last year. He got his first All-Star, and just keeping a close eye on him in the league and that, he seems to be fit or stronger. He's got a taste for it last year, a starting taste. He would have been a panelist for a few other All-Ireland, but didn't really play much of a part. He's got a taste for it. He wants more. And I get that feeling of the Dublin team watching them. They want more. They slipped for a year or two, whatever it was. They don't want to slip again. They want a few more All-Irelands. Like Kilkenny is another case there. He didn't start maybe the semi last year, the final. He got his hunger back. He was in the Burn Cup. He was in early stages league, played a lot of football. He's his hunger right. And his last catch against Mayo, they just got them, he won them the game. That's hunger. That's drive. That's wanting more. And I just think Dublin are coming right for the next few weeks, yeah.
And even you look at some of their top scorers from play, like I have to check the top scorers from play list again, but Conor Collins top of that with 4 goals and 10 points. You have Cormac Costello in and around that area as well, Cullen Basquel. Like you have scorers coming from all different angles. Paddy Small as well if he's on form. You have Killy McGuinness off the bench who's done absolutely brilliant in this championship campaign. Sean Bugler from wing back has done brilliant in this championship. And Stephen Clarkson seems to be a calming influence in that team as well from a Dublin point of view. So it all seems to be going right for them.
Yeah, Howard as well. Howard has played the last few games. He's a massive cog in the wheel, I would think. He's sort of utility. You can play him wing forward, wing back, midfield. He's an unbelievable big game player. He's physical. He could be 15 stone. He can move. He's mobile. He can score. He's a massive leap. He's a great sidestep. He can slice the ball over the bar from this. Not many players can. He's massive stats on that if he takes a shot outside the boot, it does sail over. He can do it. They seem to be in good stead, Dublin, for me.
A commenting here about Galway from John. Galway seem to be limping though in the championship, and they're still managing to win. Same, yeah, against Westmeath it was a tight win. Armagh was a draw. Derry, even I watched the Derry game back, and there was a 6-point swing in that game, despite Derry being on bad form. Obviously, Shane McGuigan has a shot saved by Conor Gleeson. Then down the other end, Cian Darcy scores 6-point swing right away there. So maybe there is indications that Galway are struggling. And against Monaghan seemed to put it up to them at stages in that game in Salt Hill. Galway got over the line at the end, but maybe there is an indication from a Galway point of view that with Shane Walsh, it's unknown will he be fit or not for this game. Damien Comer doesn't seem to be 100%. Maybe looking at the results and look at the games in general over the last few weeks, their luck might start to run out.
Yeah, and limping as well come up on the screen. They definitely limped over against Monaghan the last day. Like Monaghan could have snuck that win in Salt Hill with a goal opportunity with 5 minutes to go. Barry McBeth, it didn't go in. There was a few wee scenarios like that. If luck was with Monaghan could have turned them over, and Monaghan not going particularly well this year, really. So, but then in the history of Gaelic games, if you come in quiet under the radar, you can be dangerous. But no, I definitely can't see it.
So I'd say we're both going for a Dublin win in that one. But I'm going to say Galway I'm going to say Dublin by less than 10 points. But do you think it'll be more than 10 points, Stephen, or do you think Galway will pull it close?
Could be eight points or so, yeah.
We'll have to see this Saturday for that game as well. So we'll move on to the Sunday games now, and starting off with Donegal against Louth on RT1 on Sunday at 1:15 p.m. This is the first time in Championship that these sides will come up against each other. So that is a stat for you in general. Obviously, Donegal won, I think, by 5 points in the league. Louth really put it up to them. But like for Louth in general, Stephen, this is a massive achievement to get to their first ever quarter-final. And Ger Brennan deserves a lot of credit for getting this team into the quarter-final. And even with Mickey Hart leaving in the off-season, for him to get this Louth team to the quarter-final, James Calliff retiring, obviously, they have a tight-knit squad, but they seem to be getting every ounce of it. And they'll enjoy this weekend, obviously, but we'll hope that they will put it up to Donegal this weekend.
Yeah, credit when credit's due. Louth have improved tenfold. They have great team spirit. I work in County Louth myself. I work with their fullback there, McCampbell, Kieran Keenan, their centre forward. Great lads, solid blokes. This Louth, the squad itself, they seem to have team spirit. Prior to, say, 5-10 years ago, they didn't seem to be playing with that much spirit. A lot of Louth teams. But this current crop, knowing the lads, they go on their team holiday at the end of the year. They've won their couple of leagues there, made progress the whole way through. Mickey Hart, now Ger Brennan. Unbelievable. In All-Ireland quarter-final, unbelievable progress. And yeah, it's a county that's going in the right direction. Peter Fitzpatrick has been the chairman for 5 years. He's managed the county. Should have won the Leinster final in 2010, the controversial goal. Joe Sheridan, he was manager then. He went back in as chairman. Has he done 2 stints? He's a TD, Chuck Dollar. Unbelievable, man. Anything he puts his hand to, it goes well. He's stepped back from chairmanship this year, but during the process of building a new stadium in Dundalk, plans are just a wee bit stalled at the minute, but we live only 20 minutes from Dundalk here in Carrick, and see the photographs of the venue at the edge of the town, close to the bypass, the motorway. It looks fantastic. They've their house in order. They're going well. Yeah.
There is a few players of this Louth team that have really excelled in this championship, and this isn't talking about Samuel Roy, obviously their scorer in chief, but 2 players in particular are along the left-hand side for the Louth team. Conor Grimes at number 12 and Craig Lennon at number 7. Craig Lennon is the 3rd top scorer from play in the championship so far with 4 goals and 6 points. And let's remind our viewers and listeners, he's a wing-back, which is absolutely incredible in his own right. He got 2 goals against Meath, a goal against Monaghan, and a goal in the Leinster final against Dublin as well. And his overall play, he got 2 turnovers against Cork, 2 crucial turnovers as well. Like, he's been a revelation for Louth, as is Conor Grimes, a large guy at number 12 as well, a big physical presence at wing forward for Louth as well. So them 2 in particular, and they've taken the mantle off Samuel Roy, which is an achievement in itself in this Louth team.
Yeah. Craig Lennon, St. Moctus, Louth Village club man, in form. He's a fast, pacey player. He can see openings, he can see gaps, he'll go in form, he seems to have a knack for goal. It'll be interesting to see him in Croke Park this Sunday, how he gets on, but he's exciting to watch. He had a lovely point against Cork last weekend, the skill he'd done, bounce back himself, curl it over the bar, quality score, in form, great player. He's another big game on Sunday, definitely All-Star nomination. If they go another one, he's in All-Star form, great player to watch. And then Big Grimes, wing forward. Yeah, very, very hard to handle. Big man, pace. He'd remind you of the two big Limerick men in the hurling, Hegarty and Kyle Hayes. Is he 6'4", 5", massive momentum when he gets running. Powerful, in form, great to watch as well. Speed, power, you can't stop him. Yeah, they'll take watching.
Well, being an interesting aspect actually on Sunday is Louth have scored 13 goals in the championship, the second most out of the last 8. Dublin only have scored more. But Donegal, in all their championship games, have only conceded goals in one of them against Cork. Obviously, the 3 goals in Páirc Uí Rinn. So Donegal's defence seemed to be very tight in terms of not conceding goals, but Louth seem to be scoring goals for fun. So how do you think that dynamic will go this weekend?
Yeah, well, Louth play crazy defensive. It's not nice to watch. I was at the Meath Louth game in Enniskeane there, was it 3 weeks ago. Louth will concede all their kickouts. They get everyone back. They'll go, I don't know what their cue is. Is it 65-45? Make a lane across. Okay, and you have to try to get through 15 players. As a neutral, it is hard to watch, but it's effective. They're winning their games. They'll break it at crazy pace up the field, and you'll hear the crowd going, and the buzz will be on. But they seem to be drilled in. They have their system in place, and it's working for them. Donegal, similarly enough. McGuinness's tenure, he's always been, say, a defensive style manager. He will leave a few players up front or in a more forward position, I would imagine. But both of them are similar style, tactically wise, yeah. So it's going to be interesting. Still think Donegal will have too much for them, when we go through all our bits and pieces. But it's going to be interesting.
Comment coming in here about Donegal, an interesting one from Gavin here. If Donegal lost, how would you evaluate Jim McGuinness's first year? They got promotion and are Ulster champions, but this would be a massive opportunity that they might not get again. So you would expect Donegal to get over the line, but just to put it back to you, Stephen, about if Donegal were to lose this game, how would you evaluate Jim McGuinness's first year? Answer that question there.
Unbelievable again, yeah. He just has the magic touch, regardless if Louth did turn them over, beat them, which they probably have a chance. Can't see them doing it, but there would be a chance. From where Donegal were last year, to turn around in 6-8 months, whatever it is, it's phenomenal. They were on a downhill spiral. He's come back in. He's trained them up so fit. I've seen the McKenna Cup game against Monaghan was that January down in Castleblaney. Did they score 4 or 5 goals? Just train, dogged fitness, buying into the system. Also, Anglo Celt again. He is the magic touch, unbelievable. But I would still say I'm not convinced on them either. They're nowhere near the team that won their All Ireland in 12. Break it down fully. Lucky enough to win Ulster. They bet Derry only for the 2 flick-on goals. They wouldn't have bet Derry. Derry's wheels came off the wagon. Ulster final, they stuttered over the line. They won on penalties. Cork bet them down in Páirc Uí Rinn. Was it Páirc Uí Rinn? It was Páirc Uí Rinn. Yeah. Cork aren't a top team at the minute, and they overturned Donegal. So the Louth camp this year, Ger Brennan will be drilling into them. We've got a chance here. Donegal are not world beaters. If they're a wee bit off, we definitely have a chance. So I'm not fully convinced on Donegal yet. Can they win Sam this year? I don't know, not a chance. Can't see it. No.
And even look at the last few games, their shot accuracy has been really, really good for Donegal. They got 69% against Cork, 72% against Tyrone, 74% in the Ulster final against Armagh, which was really, really impressive. But probably the most damning thing about Donegal that I seen in Páirc Uí Rinn against Cork was Matty Taylor's goal in particular, the first goal that Cork scored. All the Donegal players were pushing up towards the 45. They were hand passing the ball about. Cork turned them over, and there's huge gaps at the back then. So you would have to feel this Sunday, if they are to overturn Louth and provide the expected, they can't make the same errors again.
No, but McGuinness is that man. He seems to he's a vision for games and to analyse teams. Like, he analysed the shit out of Derry. He knew their keeper come out. They worked on it in training. But I will expect Donegal to have improved. This is their next phase. Their Croke Park. Their fans will travel in numbers. They'll have trained so well. I presume their fitness levels have gone up 5-10%. They could change tactics a lot. They could go for more kicking, kick. I wouldn't be surprised with anything McGuinness would bring to the table. He's an unbelievable manager.
3 players in particular that have really stood out for Donegal. I think Paddy McBrearty, Oisin Gallen, Kieran Moore from quarterback, I think has been really impressive as well. Scored 2 points against Cork, was put into midfield against Clare, got a point there as well. Played very well at full back against Derry in the Ulster quarter-final as well. So he's really impressed in his first championship season. And it's only his second appearance at Croke Park, obviously, after the league final against Armagh. So he'll definitely relish this Sunday.
Yeah, he was poor in the Ulster final, though. He was taken off early on in the match. But he does look the part. He's fit, strong, he's tall, he's mobile. Didn't do it when it has to be counted in a big championship game or a final. So he needs to be up to it. But he does look. I think he's going to could be a player for Donegal if injuries go his way, and he's all right medically wise. He could have a long career. But yeah, Donegal, the buzz is back in the county. Gallen, quality player. He's in form. He's just, his level of fitness and training just seems could be 20-30%. For me, looking in at his condition, the way he is, how he can move, his hunger, his accuracy, doesn't miss. Quality. Jason McGee has improved tenfold. A lot of players who are Langan as well, big, tall, rangy player. Yeah, they've taken it to the next level. And they're going to be dangerous for the rest of the year. But if they're not right on Sunday, Louth have a chance.
Do you think Donegal, you're obviously predicting Donegal will win this game like many others, but do you think it'll be comfortable? Like if over 5 points, over 10 points, what do you think?
Don't know. It depends how the Louth players respond. Like, there would have been a lot of claps in the back all week. Are they fully grounded? Are they fully focused? Do they want another wee bit? Depends where the mentality is. Quarterfinals are very hard to win in Croke Park. I was lucky enough, I played in a few of them. Just the whole occasion, Louth, it's a nice wee trip up the road, M1 road, there'll be no bother. There'll be more cars on the road, there'll be flags cheering them in, their own fans, there's a game on after them. So it's going to be sort of a new experience for a lot of the Louth players too. So how to respond to it remains to be seen, but it's a Donegal win for me, yeah.
Just going on that point, actually, I remember Monaghan going up to Croke Park against Tyrone, obviously unlucky to lose that game by 2 points, 14 points to 12, I remember that. Or it was something like that scoreline in Croke Park. But what was it like for those Monaghan players coming back off a brilliant Ulster win over Donegal, then to play another big game in Croke Park against Tyrone? What was that like for you? Maybe it might be similar to Louth this Sunday.
We were after having success, but Tyrone caught us out. Like, we probably should have. Our first year, 13, Monaghan hadn't won an Ulster championship in 25 years, and Derry or Tyrone bet us convincingly enough. Did we over celebrate? Don't know if it was over celebrate, but mentally you are just on euphoria, say. Whereas and then there was the massive one. McManus was pulled down on his in bearing in on goal. Kavanagh pulled him down. If we had got that, would we drove up? Possibly so. But it's a hard place to win championship football, knockout, quarter-final, semi-final. It's so hard. But Monaghan have been unlucky. We could have bet Dublin last year in the semi-final. It went to the wire. Our midfielder, Fenton, bet us in the last 5-10 minutes. I think he kicked 2 points. We have been unlucky. Niall Kieran's our midfielder this last 5 years. He was away. He's still away travelling. He used to always go and fetting. He'd always to cancel each other out more or less. It's mad the bit of luck you need along the way. Could we have got into an All-Ireland final last year? Who knows? We got to quarter-final in 2007. Conor McManus was his first year on the panel. I've no doubt if he had been in his prime back then, we would have bet Kerry possibly could have went the whole way. We had Tommy Freeman in form in 2007. If McManus had been in form at his peak as well, who knows? But a tough place to win championship games in Croke Park. You have to be willing to go to the wire and just take it to the edge. So it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to the games the weekend. Yeah, can't wait. Because the championship didn't really ignite yet. But it's ready to go now this weekend, fully knockout.
Definitely is. One more game to discuss. Just a few comments coming in here. Denise saying hello to all, and hello to you, Denise, as well. The big viewer on the podcast here. And Joseph saying can't see Roscommon giving a back-to-back winning performance. That's obviously referencing the game against Armagh. So we're going on to the last game now. Last but certainly not least, a repeat of the All-Ireland semi-final from last year. Kerry against Derry, Sunday. That should be 3:15 p.m. on RT1 as well this weekend. And the Kerry are the only team in the quarterfinals to have a 100% record, 100% winning record in the championship so far. Derry, off the back of a brilliant win over Mayo on penalties last week. It might have tired them, but we'll have to see this weekend. But how do you think this will go? Like, Kerry haven't really been tested in this championship so far. Derry haven't done well up until the Mayo game, obviously, in the championship. So it's an interesting one to call.
Yeah, probably the fixture of the weekend. Fascinating game. Like, who has improved more from last year? Has any of them improved more? Don't think any of them have really improved. But I just have a feeling it depends how Derry come out of last weekend's game. Like, we don't know. With Shane McGuigan limping towards the end of the game, they could have men with a lot of niggles, a lot of knocks, and it's not just a 1 or 2 day soreness. It's not being able to do much till Thursday or Friday, and then they get your hunger up for a big game at the weekend on Sunday. But Kerry, they'll be coming in primed. They're well rested. They won another All-Ireland, but quality-wise, they're still lacking a player or two. I'm not convinced in that Kerry team. They're nowhere near the Kerry team of the noughties that won numerous All-Irelands. Some of the Kerry players aren't up to what I would think. But Derry, Mickey Hart has a massive record against Kerry in the championship from when managing Tyrone, and I think Derry could just do it. They're back in form. They clicked last weekend, and they're going to be dangerous.
The thing is with Kerry, though, they have some excellent players up in the forwards, like Sean O'Shea, like David Clifford, like Tony Brosnan, who has come into the team recently after a long spell out injured. Brian O'Beogley has scored 3 points against Meath, 3 points against Louth as well, has really excelled in that wing back role. So there are players for Kerry to turn it on. And looking at them last year in particular, they were very, very poor in the championship up until the quarterfinal last year. Then when they faced Tyrone and Croke Park, bang, they're back in form. And is that kind of a thing with Kerry? Once they get up to Croke Park, the form starts to show.
Yeah, they'll be priming for that. Like, they want Croke Park, they love Croke Park, the history of Gaelic games. Kerry come up from the kingdom, and they have the confidence that they should be ruling the roost above. But you mentioned their household names. We know but it's their other players. Like Darragh Moynihan, is he good enough? Is he good enough to be starting and playing full game? Is he just giving enough? Is he as good as Declan O'Sullivan or Gooch, who was centre forward, Sean O'Sullivan? Does he give enough to the old Kerry yard that were winning All-Irelands, have the 5 All-Irelands, them lads from the noughties? Don't think so. Is their squad as strong? Would Adrian Spillane getting the Dublin team? I don't think so. Is Killian Spillane that good? If Killian was that good, he'd be starting an odd championship game or he'd be starting in Croke Park. They're not getting in midfield. If you fully analyse them here, their midfield Is it that good? Is Joe Conor, is he an out-and-out catching midfielder? He's not. I know the game has changed. Jim O'Connor, to me, he's a quality player. But there's lots of question marks over that Kerry team. So that's what Mickey Hart will be drilling into them. Someone said it to me all year in final last year. Did David Clifford really trust his other forwards? He was taking shots on at tight angles. He was unlucky. Mickey Fitz got man of the match, but Clifford was 2 inches away, and a lot of the shots from going over the bar, he could have been man of the match. But does he really trust his players alongside him to ship it out, to take it on the score? I don't know if he fully believes some of them players are up to that quality to be winning Celtic crosses. So the jury's out in Kerry, but just on primeness, they could be primed on freshness, hunger, very little injuries, because they hadn't tough games in the last few weeks. But Derry will fancy their chances.
Arguably Kerry's last championship-like game, if that's kind of the word, was the Dublin game in February, March in the league, and they conceded 3 goals. They absolutely got pummeled that time. So, is there an onus for Jack O'Connor to improve this team after that debacle against Dublin? Let's be honest. And look at the game so far. They played against Monaghan, okay, Division 1 side, but got relegated. The other sides they played, Louth, Meath, Cork, Clare, haven't really been up to the standard either. So, do you think it's a good thing for Kerry to go in under the radar, or do you think it's a bad thing that they're facing sides at a lower standard than them?
Yeah, in Kerry they traditionally call it the gut test. When it's full on Croke Park and you're maxed out, how is the stomach? Are you up for the fight? And Kerry haven't been tested yet. They haven't got the gut test. So you might say your B team's as strong as your A team, and they're replicating it in Fitzgerald Stadium, but they're not. The occasion adds to the gut test, and they haven't been tested, and no one really knows where Kerry's at. Tony hasn't done it in Croke Park yet either, so he's untested. I've few good friends in Kerry as well, and I went to college there the month, so I was in Limerick, and they would be saying good club player, hasn't fully done it for Kerry in the championship in Croke Park. Has he the full mentality? We don't know. He still hasn't done it in Croke Park. So that's a few players we've mentioned there now that there could be cracks on that Kerry team. Defensively, I think they're solid, but few other key areas, maybe not.
I think the big question coming into this one involving both Kerry and Derry, Chrissy McKay went on David Clifford obviously last year, struggled badly. David Clifford scored about 7 or 8 points that day in the All-Ireland, or 9 points indeed in the semi-final last year. He was absolutely on fire, and Chrissy was kind of chasing shadows that day. Who do you think in the Derry full backline will go on David Clifford this time? Because it's a big decision that Mickey Hart has to make, because obviously Clifford is a brilliant player, a talented player.
Yeah, do you stick or twist? Do you go Chrissy again? Pardon no word. Like, do you put McCluskey on him, a speed man? Morton has seemed to do well, a smaller man, and Clifford is not known for his high fielding. Is he that good in the air? We don't know. Can you play a speed man on him? McCluskey. So it could be McCluskey. Possibly will. But in fairness to Chrissy McKay, he'll die with his boots on. He's one of our leaders on the team, a massive player for them. And but it depends. If Derry are very, very tight at the back, Clifford's not going to get that much space. It'll be tight. There'll be 2-3 men on him. Can he get his angle towards the goals to get his kicks off? But yeah, it's an interesting one. Who's going to pick up Clifford? Could be McCluskey, yeah.
That'll be an interesting one to see. But from a Derry point of view, you have Conor Glass, you have Shane McGuigan, some brilliant players, and Chrissy McGee, obviously the stalwarts, if you like, on that team. But a player that has really impressed me over the last few weeks is Lachlan Murray. He scored 5 points against Mayo, 4 for Blay, 100% shot accuracy. This young man is really coming into form right now, and could he be the key for Derry to go on and win this game? He's a very speedy player as well, which helps.
He's big, powerful. He's got the physique. He's definitely added to the Tyrone team. McGuigan seems back in form. He seemed to have the hunger last weekend. He shouldered one of the Mayo lads over the sideline early on in the game. He gave the fist pump up. He wanted it. He wanted to progress further in the championship. That's hunger that you see Glass has been off form, showed glimpses again. He was very poor against Donegal in the championship. I spoke to you on, I text you on this, did you do the stats in the game? How many possessions had he got? I would say it was less than 6 or 8 possessions. That's too low for me for a midfielder. And I was thinking then, will Mickey Hart drop him if he's not going well? Sign of a good manager, if players aren't going well, you're dropped. But he's been in there, probably showed a wee bit more against Mayo last weekend. So he could be coming right at the good time, at the right time of the year. He could have a massive one. Or maybe he's a wee bit burnt out. He was back in play. I think Kerry was the first game in the league, and Mickey Hart had him back in playing after 6 days. So they've had their dip. We know they were all crazy off form. So they could be spiking again to get the peak rate for quarterfinal, semi-final if there is a Sam Maguire in them. So maybe Mickey knows more than the rest of us. Probably does.
He probably does. He's a tactical genius, obviously. But look at some comments in here for Denise. An interesting point, actually. Interesting kind of point, probably, that has no relevance. But Mayo won the league in 2023 and got in via the preliminary quarter-final. A year on from now, Derry are the league champions, got to this stage, the same route as Mayo in 2023. Could see them lose by to Kerry by a similar margin to Mayo versus Dublin last year. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think Derry will fold over against Kerry this time, like what Mayo did against Dublin last year?
No, definitely not. No, Derry to me have more substance than Mayo. Mayo just lacking something. Like, we were on about Kieran McGeeney and management and managers having belief. Like, I've no doubt of, like, that last ball that Kilkenny caught in the last game. Game was in the bag. Mayo were up by 1. Mayo management, McStay was seeing the sideline, get back, we're going to concede. There was a wee bit of iffy between the players, didn't fully commit to the ball. If Mayo were fully committing to the ball, drive it on, drive it home, I've no doubt about it, the ball would have went Mayo direction, forward ball, but they didn't. It was a wee bit cautious for me. Dublin went up and got the point. Dublin are sitting ready now. So I don't think Derry, I think there's more to Derry, more substance to Derry than the Mayo lads at the minute.
So if you were to call it Derry or Kerry to win this, and do you think it'll be close?
Very close. Great game. It could be draw, penalties job. It's going to be fascinating. And I think if Derry come out of last weekend, if they're not, we don't know what goes on inside camp. They could have an awful lot of knocks and niggles and too much soreness from a very hard game last weekend. But if they come out of it not too bad physically wise, I think they have a massive chance. And they're hungry for it. They've got their league. They want Sam Maguire, and they've openly said it. They want to be kings of the land, and I think they're back after last weekend. So I think Derry have a massive. If they get over this weekend, they're thereabouts, not far off yet.
So you're predicting Derry to win it?
I'm predicting the Oakleaf County. Yeah. Yeah. Have we had to go through on the board? Yeah. Quality players like Derry have been decimated with injuries this year as well. Conor McGrogan, or Paddy, the wing back, quality player. He never let them down. Tough, tenacious, get forward, can score. He has been a big loss. They've had their injuries too. They had their woes, but Doherty scored the winning penalty. He's a great wing back. He's been injured for a few months there. Seems to be back, getting close to match fitness. So I'm going to make a bold call and go Derry.
Interesting. Very interesting prediction. Denise commenting here, Kerry by 7 points, but Kerry will have a rusty first half. Yeah, I just feel like Kerry have another gear to go up on. I just feel like David Clifford, Sean O'Shea, they might go up even further than this. And Derry had a hard game, obviously, last week against Mayo, took it all the way to penalties. I just question, will the same energy be there as the Mayo game from a Derry point of view?
You could be right. We don't know what the game took out of them. But Kerry, advantage again, they have their easy route. They're just getting their peak ready. Are they undercooked? Haven't been fully tested? Are they going in cold? But all in all, if a weaker county had that trajectory through, you'd be taking it. You'd be happy.
It's going to be a tight one. I don't think it'll be as bad as the Mayo Dublin game last year or Kerry against Tyrone. I think it will be close, and I think I'm just going to nick it to Kerry by about 3 points. I just feel like Sean O'Shea, David Clifford, this is the time where they have to stand up. The likes of Killian Burke as well, who's a good young player, Dylan Gainey as well. So I just feel like Kerry are going to win this game. But Stephen is going to go for a Derry win. We'll have to see what happens this Sunday. But that is the football quarterfinals wrapped up. And that is the end of the podcast, everyone. If you want a preview on the minor hurling or the camogie, I might do a video on that tomorrow or later on this evening as well. So, thanks to everybody that viewed the podcast. Give it a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And before we go, Stephen, where will you find the Gaelic Tactics Board on social media?
Yeah, Gaelic Tactics Board. You'll find us on Instagram and Twitter. Our website, GaelicTacticsBoard.com. We were GATacticsBoard.com. We've done a rebrand there. For whatever reason, we had to change. So, yeah, GaelicTacticsBoard.com. Our cue on it is we've personalised team magnets. We're the only crowd in the country that does it. If you're coaching Kerry or your club team is green and gold, we have the magnets green and gold. Dublin light blue, whatever it is. We have a few other products. We have a digital board there. Yeah, everything. We're the first in Ireland to produce. With their Matthew. Yeah, we digipad. So ideal for doing stats, in-game stats. Any man doing stats on a game, background team, one-on-one coaching, etc. Wipes off touch of a button. We've coaches folders and 2 bits and pieces. You'll see all on the website. Just drop us an email, a shout. We can sort out any queries. But yeah, that's us.
Exactly, a very good company. And check Gaelic Tactics Board if you haven't already. A brilliant company. Obviously, I have a few tactics boards on the side there, and obviously the electronic one, which is very handy as well. So, Stephen, pleasure to have you on the podcast. And thanks to Capture Athletics again for sponsoring today's podcast. And until the next time, guys, we'll see you all again. And take care.